few days ago, the Canadian singer-songwriter Bruce Cockburn arrived in Britain on a rare visit. In rock music circles, he's achieved near legendary status with the combination of consummate guitar skills, literate songwriting, and a clear Christian vision. He's often to be heard in some of the most troubled parts of the world, Nicaragua, for example, Nepal, Mozambique, and his songs reflect his concern with tyranny and injustice. On a brief stopover coinciding with his release of songs recording during last year's world tour, he told Martin Rowe why he's inclined to tackle overtly social and political issues head-on.
The God must be on the side that's right. Justifies itself in terms of might.
It seems to me that if our faith asks us to love our neighbor, it then seems very natural to include that kind of concern in songs. That's the bottom line for me.
Is there a connection between the fact that you travel regularly and widely? Are you looking for things to write about? Are you exploring the world to get inspiration for your work and to find out where people are hurting, that kind of thing?
Well, in the most general sense, I am exploring the world to find inspiration for living more than for the work specifically. But no, I mean, I didn't go to Central America looking for song material or to Mozambique or wherever else. I mean, sometimes songs come out of those trips. And I do find that travel is a very stimulating thing for me in terms of the creative process. But it would be a bit weird, probably, at least in the connections in which I've done that traveling, to be looking for songs at the same time as I'm supposed to be doing some kind of development work and, helping these people.
Some of your most striking songs have come from times when you've been visiting people who are victims of some kind of political oppression or injustice.
Well, there's, I suppose, nothing quite as stimulating as good old repression. The situations that produce songs are situations that produce a strong emotional response, especially when one first encounters those kinds of things. Like the first trip to Central America for me was very much like that. It was a big shock, a big traumatic thing for me to see the kind of poverty and violence, or at least the effects of violence that I saw up close for the first time in my life, and that produced some songs for sure. In the case of that trip, songs that dealt specifically with those things. The song Nicaragua, If I Had a Rocket Launcher, Dust and Diesel. It doesn't only have to be tragedy that does that. I mean, a subsequent trip to Nepal produced songs that were not of that kind of flavor at all, even though the poverty in Nepal is just as bad, if not worse, than it is in Central America. Although the repression has been, until recently anyway, carried on in a different form and less associated with ultra-violence, it still looks pretty bad, and the situation for people is pretty desperate. Yet, because it was a kind of, in a way, an atmosphere charged with spirit in Nepal, which it did not seem to be in the same way in Central America, maybe because of the absence of violence, it produced a different kind of song altogether. When you find yourself among very poor people who are in very desperate circumstances, very often find a joy in life and a sense of the immediacy of things, of the eternal now, to put it in pompous terms, that we sometimes find it harder to get in touch with. And that I've been sort of reassured different times by contact with those people.
So, to use one of your own phrases, these people are like a rumor of glory.
Or something in their lives is, yeah.